Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks again for joining us. My name is Jessica Kapkar. I'm the Communications Manager with the BBB serving Central Ohio. We're glad to have you with us this afternoon for the fourth and final installment of our webinar series with Paul Profit with Sundown Group. So we're glad to have you here. We are recording this webinar, so it will be available afterwards on our trustlocal.org website for your reference, and that is where all of the previous webinars that we have hosted are located, so you can feel free to take a look at all of those. All of Paul's webinars are there as well, so feel free to take a look at that on your leisure. We also will be taking questions, so please feel free to go ahead and type those into the question box if you have any questions throughout. I think Paul will probably take some time to answer those as we go along. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Paul. Thanks for having us.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for the introduction. Once again, name is Paul Profit. I'm with Sundown Group. Sundown Group is a Ohio-based nonprofit organization that helps connect entrepreneurs up with investors, mentors, and talent. And we also teach various courses around building your business. The topic we're going to be talking about today is around customer relationship management and email service platforms. One of the things that we like to talk a lot about is around marketing and around customer engagement and things like that. That's one of the most important things in your business is, attracting customers, taking care of them, and selling them your products and services so that your business can make money and thrive and get more customers and make even more money. So we're going to be talking about a few things today as we talk about CRM and marketing automation. One of the things that we're going to talk a lot about is your sales funnel. And so how you can migrate your potential customers from prospects all the way through down to being purchasing customers and then taking care of them afterwards, and how a CRM and ESP can help manage those customers through that journey so that you can get them, keep them, and keep reselling to. We're going to give you some definitions around what a CRM is and what an ESP is. I'm sure many of you already know what that is, but we'll give some of the technical definitions and kind of the things to look for when you're evaluating a CRM platform and also an ESP platform. We're going to talk about and give some examples around how CRMs and ESPs interface with your sales funnel and the types of CRM and ESPs that are on the market today so that you can start to take a look at some of those different platforms and how they might be able to fit within your company or organization. Feel free to throw a question in chat anytime as we go along. If you need me to go back and explain anything or expand on stuff, don't have to wait to the end. I'll have more enough time to kind of answer questions as we go. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about your sales funnel. So this, if you've seen anything with marketing and sales, there's always some variation of this type of funnel that usually has things starting off at the top around awareness. Then you drive people to interest, then to consideration, then to intent, then evaluation, then purchase. And more modern sales funnels also have kind of a funnel coming out of the bottom of it to where you never are done with your customer. You are always going back and re-engaging with your customer. And so we've added on, fan and expansion as some of the different options here, or some of the different steps and stages within your sales funnel. So just as a kind of a quick review, oops, too fast. You've got the for building awareness. So before a person becomes a customer, they need to know that you exist. And typically, you do this through traditional marketing channels, general, very broad advertising, being at trade shows, being at different events, things like that, to be able to just have the general public or the general target audience that you're looking for just be aware that you exist and that you might provide solutions that will solve some of their problems. Then once that customer becomes, or that potential customer becomes aware, they signal some sort of bit of interest in your company. So this is where you've captured some information about them. They become a lead. They're doing research. You should be reaching out to them at this point, since you do have some contact information, starting to nurture that lead to get them down into consideration. So leads are interested, they haven't committed. This is where automation can kind of help in the consideration set, putting them into a drip campaign or a calling plan or something like that that would give them more information about you, your company, what you're selling, how your solutions solve a particular problem or need. And then you drive them down to intent, where they've thought about your product, they're interested in it, you're in their consideration set, and then they've signaled some sort of intent to purchase. Maybe they've got you down to the top 2 things. If you're an e-commerce retailer, they have put your item in their shopping cart and they just haven't checked out yet. And then once they get to intent, they've signaled some sort of intent that they want to buy. Then they kind of go into this evaluation phase, in which they are looking at one final comparison, just to double check, make sure that they're making the right purchase, and there's no information that would keep them from completing the transaction. And then they do their final purchase. The lead converts to a customer. Now you have them as a customer. They've got the thing, the product or service, and all you need to do is then deliver that product or service to that customer. It has met their needs. They're happy with that product and service delivery, and then they become a fan of your company. And being a fan allows you to do more things with that customer, right? So you can move into the expansion phase, where the customer rebuys, buys more, or refers others to your company, to your particular product or service set, and you basically bring those people back in through much like the same sort of funnel, sales funnel, as they go through. Of course, there's all sorts of different tactics to move people from one step to the other step of the funnel. There's ways to re-engage people who fall out of your funnel, those sorts of things. And a CRM methodology is one of the things that can help bring people back into the fold, and also keep track of where they are in the different steps of your particular sales funnel. And of course, each sales funnel is different by industry. This is just kind of an example of a sales funnel, as generic as it can be, that can be good for cross industry. All right, come on, slide. Okay. So that's kind of the sales funnel, just as a high level overview of what it is, all those different sorts of things. So let's go ahead and start talking about what is a CRM and an ESP. So CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management, and an ESP basically stands for Email Service Provider or Email Service Platform. CRMs is just basically a method of managing your customers, moving them through the funnel, and the ESP is generally a software platform that allows you to push communications out to your potential customers that are being managed in the system. One of the things that we always like to talk about around CRM is that CRM is a methodology. It's not necessarily a piece of software, right? So customer relationship management, it's just the way that you take care of your customers and moving people through your sales funnel. So part of a CRM methodology should allow you to build awareness about your company, capture information of people that show interest in your products and services. This methodology should allow you to put people into buckets based upon their level of interest, and have some kind of communication strategy to understand a lead's needs and communicate your value to meet those needs, much like you would with any sort of marketing activity that you would do. And you want to manage a process, manage a process to conversion, and then post conversion to keep the relationship going. So the CRM methodology basically says, all right, how do we get people to convert into being a uh, product purchaser, and then how do we take care of them, post that conversion? When they've already bought the product and the service, you have to deliver the product and service. We have to make sure that they're happy that the product and service that was delivered met their expectations, and then based upon that, being able to have some sort of methodology and process to re-engage them at certain points in time, right? So if you sell them a piece of machinery, um, it's good to continue to keep give them updates on that piece of machinery. Here's a new white paper. Here's a software patch. Here's a hardware patch. Here's what other companies are doing in the industry with this type of piece of machinery. Here's the brand new whiz bang version of the piece of machinery you bought, the new revision of it. Things like that still keeps people informed about your company, what you're doing, and the things that they're interested in. And so having a process of communicating and still nurturing that relationship is part of a CRM methodology. Now, because a lot of this stuff can be automated, and it's very complex, and you do need to keep track of where people are in your sales process, make using a piece of software a pretty good fit for tracking all this. A CRM, in terms of the software aspect of things, is basically a big giant database or a big giant Rolodex that keeps track of people's activities as they progress through your sales funnel. So as you're starting to look at and evaluate CRM software to put your CRM methodology into practice, you're going to want to make sure that that you get a good CRM. And some of the features of a good CRM is basically the ease of bringing person data into it. So, however you're capturing, data, via a web form, via telephone, via business cards, however, getting information into your system and making it very easy for that to be done is a good feature of the CRM. You don't want to, be fighting the system to put data into it. You also want to be able to, a feature of a good CRM is it's easy to segment that person data based on, areas of interest, geography, their behavior, those sorts of things. Because you want to be able to take that big, giant set of data that you're generating and be able to distill it down into actionable groups of people that you then can talk to in a way that would appeal to them to buy their product or service, to buy your product or service. Again, it's very, very important to be able to track a person through your sales cycle. So identify a sales opportunity and attach it to that person record that is in your system. So, you can, bring people in, they show that they've got some interest in a thing. But, but being able to gauge that level of interest, is it high, medium, low? Have they done things that qualify them to say, oh, they're potentially interested in buying this thing or this service? How do I classify their interest? How do I identify that sales opportunity? And so having a CRM system that allows you to create sales opportunities and attach them to that person is a pretty important feature of a good CRM. And of course, the ability to get data out of a CRM for use by other marketing tools. So sometimes some CRMs are really good at tracking people, the steps through your sales funnel, but they may not have the best email marketing tool as part of the CRM. There might be a separate application that is in the stack that the marketing automation stack that you buy from a product or service, to where that data needs to port out and communicate with a different platform to actually send out communications, right? How well does that data get moved out to an ESP? How well does that data get moved out to a ad platform so you can do advertising to that particular audience of people that you've got? If it's really hard to get data out of a CRM system, it's probably not that good of a CRM system to pick. So those are some of the core features that you would be wanting to look at when saying what a good CRM system is and is not. All right, so that's kind of the core bit of CRM systems at a very kind of high level of what to kind of look for when evaluating a CRM and what a CRM actually does for you. Any questions on CRMs in general? Anything that I've kind of gone over there in the first few minutes here?
It doesn't look like we have any questions that have come in so far, but again, please feel free to go ahead and type those into the question or the chat box, and we'll get to those as we go.
All right. Okay. So one of the other things that we've got as we talk about CRMs, so we've got a CRM system. We're collecting all of our data. We're tracking where people are in our sales funnel. We know all the touch points that they're doing on the website because our CRM is collecting that data. So we're getting all that important information. Well, part of that customer relationship is being able to actually effectively talk with your customer as well. And so what you need to have bolted onto your CRM is basically an ESP. And that is, again, an email service platform. Again, some CRM systems bundle an ESP with the tool. It's all one unified application. Some software vendors have those split into two different applications that are connected together. So I usually like to talk about them separately, just so that in the case that you pick a CRM that's really good at CRMness but not so good at emailing and communicating, then we can just kind of talk about the evaluating an ESP on its own, so you know what to look for when putting these different solutions together. So most modern ESPs do a lot more than kind of batch and blast email to people. Most modern ESPs allow you to further segment your data, put them into various campaigns, be able to track activity, in terms of what they do, and then also being omni-channel. So the ability to take a contact that comes into your ESP and push them out through multiple communication channels. So you might have an email channel, you might have a social advertising channel, you might have a print media channel, you might even have a television media channel to push people to push things out to TV and web and things like that. And the cool thing about having an ESP is that it's always on. You can create campaigns that will always run as new people meet criteria. They go into an automation and they get the email messaging and whatever other communication that you want to push out in a fairly automatic way. So this way you're not having to spend a lot of manpower in terms of constantly manually sending things out, manually uploading files to different ad platforms, things like that. Additionally, it allows you to do things that, based upon customer actions, you can respond to them in almost near real time to provide even a surprise and delight opportunity for a customer. And so the idea around this is that this would be as you collect more information in your CRM about your customer, you can get further personalized emails tailored to their specific needs. Being able to do things like that. A lot of these platforms also allow you to do mobile messaging. If you have a app that you're asking people to download and to interface with your services and things like that, you can push mobile messaging through your ESP platform to your app. If you're able to capture their mobile numbers and they opt in to receive mobile messaging, you can push notifications to them through SMS. Again, you can take these known audiences that you've got, you can push them to social ads and to posts, and you can also tie that into in-store activities. So if your point of sale system is hooked up to your ESP system, when someone completes a transaction in store, they get emailed their, like a copy of their receipt, but you can also send them other things through that in-store activation, right? So if you have a mobile app, and you have them geo-fenced to a particular store location. They walk into your store, they're in that particular geographic area. They could receive a push notification of a in-store coupon that is good at the time that they are there, because that they're in the store at that time. And so you can kind of combine these multiple different communication channels to really kind of create these very unique experiences for your customers, whether they're shopping online or they're shopping in store. You kind of combine a lot of these different things with different ESPs to really kind of create a very cool, unique shopping experience for your customers. Disney is really good at this. If you have installed the Disney app and you're walking around a theme park, you will get pop-up notifications if ride lines go down in a particular ride, or notifications of a show that you're interested in. When you get back to your hotel, if you're staying on property, you'll get additional information for like the next day. And this is all time-based, geographically kind of focused sort of push notifications based upon where you are in the park. So they're kind of combining in-park, in-store activations and leveraging their app to do the same. Kohl's had a similar effort a few years ago where they were doing a lot of in-store activations where you had their app. You could go to a kiosk, and the kiosk would interact with your app on your phone, and you would be shown products that might be of interest to you on display. So it was a personalized display. As you walk past it, it would actually change based upon what your interests were when you got close to it. So, and then it was all done through CRM and basically ESP sort of systems, all communicating with each other. Those are kind of some kind of complex, high-level examples of things, but those are some of the things that you can do with that as well. One sort of another in-store activation that has been done with mobile messaging is that a number of years ago, Bush's Best, which sells Bush's beans, had a text 3 ingredients that is in your cart, and Bush's will text back with a recipe and which type of baked bean would be good to pair for making that meal, right? So you can do all sorts of fun things with different applications like that. So some of the features of a good ESP, as we're kind of talking about evaluating these different sorts of tools. With a good ESP, there's the ease of, much like a CRM, there's the ease of bringing data in and exporting it back out. So the idea that data easily flows in and out of the system. There's solid reporting and analytics. So going beyond just opens and clicks, you want to look at something that can give you more in-depth information about how groups of people that are receiving your communications are interacting with it, the amount of time it takes for them to interact with the communication, how quickly they interact with that communication and then move to a conversion event, either on your website or in the store. Being able to tie all that data back together is a very important feature of ESPs. Some are better than others in terms of reporting and analytics. So just understanding where the gaps might be in their tool and versus what you want to be able to see and report out is very important. One of the things you also want to make sure that a ESP can do is having support for drip campaigns and journey building. So it's not just a schedule one email that goes out at a specific time of day to a specific group of people. You want to be able to have a drip campaign that would be as new people qualify for your marketing journey, they get pulled into that campaign. and then get delivered those different messages and different communications. One of the cool things about some of the more modern ESPs is that you can set up a journey where maybe you send someone an email 1 or 2 times, and they don't interact with either of those emails. You can then take that person and push them to a advertising audience on a social platform. And if they get matched, you can start delivering ads to that particular person when they're a part of a custom audience. So if you're not reaching them through email, you can set them up to start to spend more to reach them, right? So email is close to free if you've got their contact information. You can try a phone campaign if they don't respond to email. You can push them into a social ad platform if they don't respond to email, or you can push them into print mailings if they don't respond to email or anything like that. So there's a lot of things that you can do with a drip campaign to kind of in real time and dynamically scale your kind of communication strategies based upon how someone is responding to the content that you're pushing out to them. So there's a feedback loop that you can basically create that will allow you to automate a lot of things and create some very engaging multi-touch journeys that again help push the person through your conversion funnel to get them to purchase. And then of course there's does the ESP also support automations for abandoned carts? If you are a e-commerce site and someone is buying put stuff in their shopping cart, they don't complete the checkout, is your ESP sending those people emails of, hey, you abandoned the cart, here's the contents of your cart, go ahead and check out, and maybe you offer them a small promotion discount to get them to do that. Sending out birthday emails, holiday greeting emails, things like that. Those are all things that can be done with an ESP used through automation. Takes a lot of the manual labor out of things, so that your people are actually focused on more on getting those leads to convert into purchases versus having to do a lot of the kind of the always on communications that are expected. You can automate them so much the better. And the other thing that's the most modern ESPs are also kind of putting together are offering some sort of predictive engine for lead scoring, send time optimization, those sorts of things. So when is the best time to send an email to somebody? That's one of the big questions that you hear a lot with people who are doing email marketing, email campaigns, things like that. Well, with a lot of the more modern ESPs, if you send an email to someone a few times and they open it, that system can start to see when is the time that person opens the email. And so maybe it's a good time to send the email around the same time that the person opens the email. So these ESPs will build these send time optimization algorithms, apply them to individual people that are part of your email list, and send the email out at the time that they most likely open it. So you're like, someone enters the email send step at 9 a.m. Some of them go out at 9 a.m. Others will hold back and send out to those specific people at the time that they choose to open it. Maybe a few people open their email after lunch at 1. So the people that have been predicted to open their email at 1 o'clock, that group of people get an email at 1 o'clock. People who open at 2, they get that. And so these systems can help kind of optimize to get your message in front of them when they're most likely to open the email. Those are all really cool features of ESPs. Most of them have some sort of variation of some sort of predictive engine that helps you kind of take the guesswork out of figuring out when to send messages to people. So it's a very, very cool feature that we're seeing thanks to machine learning and AI. So that is it from the technical aspects of things, of looking at evaluating a good CRM system evaluating a good ESP, some of the things that you want to look out for as you're starting to kind of wade through picking out some of these software platforms to help you drive your sales process. So what I want to do next is kind of talk about overlaying the sales funnel with some of the activities that you would do with a CRM and an ESP, just as some examples of how you would build out a kind of a contact methodology and things like that. So moving into that, we're going to kind of go through each of the sales funnel steps and kind of talk about what you want to do from an awareness perspective and how you can accomplish it in the different ways to meet those different goals within each stage of the funnel. So when we start talking about awareness, so you're going to use traditional marketing strategies to attract potential customers. Your CRM should be ready to capture information about this potential customer. So you can do this in a number of ways. So a person enters their information on a web form. You drive them to a website. They fill out information. You capture that information. They're aware of your company now, and you've got some little bit of data about them. You can get this data from an import of data of booth attendees from a trade show. Someone calls your company, and you log their information. Sales rep, they enter in info from a business card that they collect through just general networking. You start to get them into your sales funnel at that awareness factor, right? You pull it in, you capture their data, they then convert into the interest stage, right? So you have a person's information and know something about what they are interested in. So you officially have a lead, right? So what do you do with that lead? You want to be able to qualify that lead. So hopefully you can, within your CRM system, within your methodology, you're able to determine how interested are they in your product or service, what's their timeline to buy. So if they're basically very low interest, they might not be that qualified of a lead. They may not be a hot lead. They're kind of a cold or a warm lead. So you might want to put them on a communication plan that helps build interest. Goes from a cold lead to a warm lead to a hot lead. Understanding what their timeline to buy is, so you know that you're not going to bug them too much, right? Too early on. So if someone is going to look at buying something in, 2 months or less than a month, maybe they're a hot lead, and if their timeline for buying something is, a year, 2 years from now, that might be something you'd put them into a medium or cold lead, and you would have a communication plan for those different stages of a lead to drive them to the next stage of your sales funnel. And this is where those automated drip campaigns, those always on sort of advertising campaigns within different social channels. Again, you're trying to build more interest in this stage, so as you can get them to know your company, know the product and services that you sell, and start to trust that the products and services that you're selling actually solves the problem that they're looking to solve with your product or service. And so you get them high enough in the interest phase that they kind of slide over into consideration. You're on their list of potential solutions. They're now starting to think about buying. And this is where you start to create a sales opportunity for that lead, right? So the lead has gotten to where it's like, okay, I'm interested in buying your stuff. So you want to build that opportunity. And then what do you do with that lead? All right, so you got to further qualify that lead. Again, still kind of asking the same questions. How interested are they? Their timeline to buy. Again, you want to do things more than just the automated drip campaign. You might want to put them on a calling plan. You might want to put them in a push to get them to schedule an in-person sales meeting. And this level of when they're in the consideration phase, there's a higher level of intentionality in terms of your marketing communications. You're doing a higher frequency. It's more direct because you now know that they are interested enough that they maybe might want to buy from you, right? So now you want to get them from the maybe might want to buy from you to delivering more information to them. So and building that relationship more so that they move out of that consideration set and start to really go into heavily considering you and getting to that intent phase where you are in their shopping cart, whatever their shopping cart is. An online e-commerce store, they put your product, you know, in their shopping cart. If you're a retail goods store, they've picked up your product and put it into their actual physical shopping cart. Or if you're a service-based organization, in their mental shopping cart of, yeah, we'll probably go with this company. So at this stage, what do you do with that lead? You answer any of their follow-up questions. You want to demonstrate value. If they abandon the sales process somewhere, they cut off communication with you. You want to start thinking about what can you do to win them back, right? So what are those things that you can build that would, in part of your customer relationship management process, that would help win them back, right? So is it a is that win back journey? If it's a e-commerce company, do you send them that abandoned cart email with a promo code? Do you, if it's a service-based industry, do you invite them to some sort of VIP webinar? Do you, what do you do to help kind of get them to that final commitment stage, right? And how does your CRM process, your methodology work to make sure that those people stay in that intent phase and get down to evaluation? So again, this is where they kind of move. They're really close to buying at this point. This is where you want to, again, still demonstrating value. You're still answering any follow-up questions. You might want to send them a deal or discount to get them over the edge to close. Again, intent and evaluation are very close together from a timing perspective. It's usually very short. They're basically double checking to make sure they make the right choice. So you're basically doing a much more intense validation and demonstrating a value than in the intent stage. And then they purchase. So they bought the thing. Yay, you're done, right? They purchased. Well, not really. So what do you do with the lead? Well, you mark the opportunity that's associated with that lead as one in your CRM. Your lead converts to a customer, so they're not just they're not a prospect anymore. They are a bona fide person who has bought from you. And then what do you do with that customer, right? You want a delivery of what they paid for, right? A good CRM will let you push that info to a project management tool, record the transaction from your ERP system, etc. So again, you have a good CRM tool. Data flows in and out of that system fairly easily. It can talk to other systems. Other systems can talk to it. So if you are, doing, if it's a point of sale system, the point of sale system collects their information. That's a very short turn, obviously. But that point of sale system should probably communicate to the CRM, so you have them as a customer. So you're able to kind of have that data move around in your business so that you can be able to take action on it. And then you also want to put them into on a post-purchase communication plan, right? So they bought the thing. They're getting it delivered. So it can be a transactional communication, such as your item shipped, your item has been delivered. Here's a follow-up survey of what you think about our product. And then maybe there's the ability to, tips and tricks for your product or service, or other sort of post-purchase communications that creates high affinity for your brand, showing that you care about them as a customer, that you're still continuing to provide basically sales and service support to them, but doing it in an automated fashion so that it's not requiring a lot of manual intervention to do those things. And of course, what you want to do is you want to take those people who've purchased and turn them into fans. They bought it, they bought, they got, and they liked. So you delivered on their promises, or on your promise to them. And that post-purchase comm plan, beyond just like, how's your purchase? Do you like it? Here's your survey. The plan to buy more, rebuy, or refer a friend. You spent money getting them. Now do what you can to keep them, right? So the cost of customer acquisition, um, if they only buy once from you, is usually pretty high. But if you're able, once you have them as a customer and you're able to get them to rebuy or buy more, or refer a friend that then directly buys, that total cost of customer acquisition, um, you know, gets to be, still the same cost, but if you're able to increase your lifetime value of the customer, that is a big benefit to you. So that's one of the good things that you can do with the fan stage, is to try to get them to basically get that lifetime value of that customer up over time. And the cool thing about having a CRM hooked into your e-commerce or your point of sale or anything that's keeping track of what they're buying is that you can get a view of, how valuable of a customer are they? Can you offer them a VIP service? Can you do things like that? So if you ever purchased from White House Black Market, they've got different statuses. They've got like a bronze, a silver, a gold, and a platinum status. And you get different things based upon those different statuses. So their point of sale system talks to the CRM. The CRM understands what level you're at, and then you get different communications based upon what level you're at, for different deals and promotions and things like that. So being able to tie all that together to have a fan and keep, and do things for post-purchase is very important. And then finally, there's the expansion phase. So take what you know about your customers and expand that effort, right? So what do you do with all that customer data, right? So you have all this first party data. You know everything about your customers who have purchased, their names, their addresses, what they bought, how long it took them to buy a particular product. Well, what you can do is you can take those known customers and you can push their info into various ad platforms to generate lookalike audiences. So people who you don't know, but look like the people that have bought from you, right? So these are people that you don't have any experience with, you've not marketed to them before, but they look very similar to those people who have converted. So again, you can create very targeted marketing to drive new people into your sales funnel and lower your cost of customer acquisition, because you're marketing to people that look like and behave like, people that have converted in the past. So it should be a little bit easier and a little bit more efficient for you to move them down your sales funnel to get them to purchase. And then finally, the thing I want to talk about is really the space of CRMs and ESPs in the marketplace. Um, it's big, it's crowded, and price varies greatly depending on your size and industry. There are cross-industry players like Salesforce, HubSpot, Sugar, and Zoho, and very niche players like Act, Hobsons, and Campus Management. Hobsons and Campus Management make CRM specifically for higher education, right? Salesforce is the big behemoth in the CRM space, and they have a lot of different tools and a lot of different products in their technology stack based upon what you do. There's Microsoft Dynamics, which is kind of a middle player here. And then you've got, HubSpot, which starts off at kind of a freemium model. So it's free up to a point from a CRM, but then there's add-on costs for if you want to activate marketing for their ESP, and if you want to store more than, X number of thousands of records in it. So there's all sorts of different players out there in the market. There's even CRMs that are specific to the banking and mortgage industries that are different than other CRMs. So the space is very wide. It's very wide open. But if you look at your industry, evaluate different products, and see what's the best fit for your type of business from both a price and a support and functionality standpoint, then you could probably be able to take a CRM methodology, a CRM process, and leverage one of those software tools to help make managing your business and managing your sales funnel a whole lot easier than having to do it manually. So that about wraps it up for our high-level stuff on CRM and ESPs, just kind of a high-level walkthrough on how, kind of looking at CRMs and ESPs, how they apply to your sales funnel, and some of the considerations you might want to take a look at as you're evaluating CRM and ESP systems to help manage your own customer life cycles in your own business. So with that, I will open it up to any questions that you might have.
Thanks, Paul. It doesn't look like we've had any questions so far, but again, if anybody does have one, please feel free to go ahead and type it into the question box. And as I mentioned earlier, we are recording this. We did record this webinar, so you can find it on trustlocal.org. And that is where all of our webinars are housed. So feel free to take a look back at those for your reference. And if anybody has any questions going forward, please feel free to reach out to us. We are working remotely, and we can definitely connect you with Paul, as if that's who you need to speak with. But again, if anybody has any, I don't see any questions, so I think we'll go ahead and say thank you, Paul, for all of your time, and go ahead and wrap it up for the day. Unless anybody has any last minute questions, I want to say thanks again, Paul, for your time on this series, and thank you to everybody for attending today.
Pleasure, and everyone take care.
Thanks so much. Take care, everybody.